We are here today at the HITLAB Innovator Summit with Harsha Rajasimha. He is the founder of Jeeva Clinical Trials, and this is your first Innovator Summit?
Yes, it is.
Wow, and I know that you're presenting. You also are here kind of as where you're along vendor row as well. Are you sweeping floors at night and doing other things as well?
I do it at my company as a founder, as an entrepreneur.
I'm not surprised to hear that. So first things first, you're going to present. What are you going to talk about?
So I've been invited to speak on obesity and weight loss clinical trials. It's a hot area right now. But more importantly, what does it take to make clinical trials dramatically more efficient? What's lacking in the current infrastructure with the legacy systems, the fragmented tools and IT silos that makes clinical trials inefficient, slow and long stretched.
You make it sound so bad because it actually is so bad.
100%.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
So, yeah, you mentioned that this is hot. I mean, this is like the thing right now.
GLPs,
Yeah.
Yeah, and in terms of clinical trials itself, what got me into it is how many diseases there are that still do not have a single approved treatment. Like in rare diseases, I am trained as a computational biologist, went through postdoctoral experience at National Institutes of Health and FDA, consulted with Big Pharma and saw firsthand professionally how long this process is and how inefficient, how manual, and how regulated this whole process is. At the same time, I also became a dad to a child with rare disease in 2012, and that experience from a personal point of view was a whole different type of pulling me into this from a different perspective. And so became a patient advocate, and both my personal and professional experiences kind of converged in unconventional ways and drew me into this fray to make a difference. So what really surprised me is 95% of 11,000 or so named rare diseases still do not have an approved treatment. And they probably will not for a long time unless we fix this valley of death and make it faster, cheaper, dramatically more efficient, which the agentic AI has that potential. We are just starting to scratch the surface, but to be fully prepared, the current infrastructure is not built for AI. AI is an afterthought. It just happened.
Right.
And so now what we are doing is we have reinvented clinical trial infrastructure for AI. So we can fully have AI as a fabric underneath this infrastructure to impact the full process rather than point solutions that can only have limited, focused, isolated impact, which is what is happening right now. Is a deluge of point solutions with AI that can impact a part of the continuum of drug development. In phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, in each phase there is patients selection, recruitment, randomization, data capture, trial management, and decentralized patient engagement, where they are. Now, we could have, right now the infrastructure is fragmented, and so, it works, but it's extremely expensive to maintain an infrastructure like that, and it takes 9 years on an average from first in human trial to regulatory review and approval. So we are on a mission to squeeze it to 5 to 7 years, which is practically, realistically, the fastest we could effect this, depending on the therapeutic area.
Right.
And so I'm going to speak tomorrow about how we are actually delivering this already, and to over 20 sponsors who are realizing this kind of value. Although we are not fully done yet, and we are only 70% in our journey in terms of the full AI, agentic AI workflow automation.
So you had told me that you are working with HITLAB to try and refine the whole process that you're involved in here. Tell me a little bit about their involvement and how they've been able to help you.
Yeah, we are excited to just get started with HITLAB a month ago, and so we are looking forward to a long-drawn collaboration with HITLAB in essentially focusing on evidence generation. How is Jeeva unique? How are we different? In terms of how dramatically efficient are we compared to the current legacy systems? And what is the metric that matters to our end users, ultimately patients? How are we impacting outcomes and access to therapies from patients in rural parts of United States, or 95% of the world which barely participates in clinical trials right now, where majority of the world's population lives, as 90% of trials are conducted in the global north. And so there is a number of ways in which this new infrastructure that we reinvented could have. Where do we focus? What kind of evidence should we generate? And,
right.
And it's we know it's a marathon, and so we want to also run sprints in the interim. And what's the most impactful sprint we could run next? And that's where HITLAB is helping us identify where to focus, how to sequence it, so we can have the maximum impact upfront.
I would think that anything that you can do to speed up any part of the process would have to give you a great deal of satisfaction, especially knowing that some people have only so much time.
Yeah, 100%. And I've been a community builder over the last 13 years, especially on rare diseases, although our technology is operational and logistics oriented, and it's disease agnostic. So we have already been part of a success story helping a CAR T cell gene therapy through their entire clinical development process. And they have commercialized it for 10% of the cost of existing CAR T therapies. $500,000 average versus $50,000, one and done, and almost a cure for leukemia and B-cell lymphomas. CAR T was developed, and so that's already gratifying that it's starting to show impact, and we are just getting started. So excited to see how we can make, especially orphan indications where the populations are small. It's going to be huge because many patients will not have treatments otherwise.
Right. Well, now you have the reinforcements in place, your vision is clear, and you know where you're going, and it looks like the next year or two could be really interesting for you.
It is already heating up. As in the last quarter of the year, we have been bombarded with requests for proposals, so very excited for 2026.
Harsha, really glad that you're experiencing success. Interesting to hear about your partnership with HITLAB. Come back sometime, maybe 6 months from now, and tell us how things are going.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me here. I'm looking forward to the May conference. We are also planning to speak there on the progress.